Greetings, yogis. We are here for a 15-minute body wake-up yoga session. 15 minutes is all you need to get the motor running a little bit so that you can start first thing in the day, mid-afternoon, evening, even at bedtime. And don't be jealous that I'm sporting my patented Steven Seagal ponytail look. That's just something my sister and I have been wearing for a large part of our lives. And you're welcome to join us, but good luck pulling it off. Anyway, let's start in child's pose, shall we? So just get around. Let's bring our knees in nice and tight to start. So we're creating a foundation with our thighs. Shimmy your hips back onto your heels and then soft arms out in front of you. You can even sort of stack hands so that you are providing space for your forehead. And just allow your body to relax into this pose. You're going to take a couple soft breaths in and out, and then as you experiment with depth of breath, feel how your belly presses against your thighs. That's why I really like to start in this narrow knee presentation, just so you just feel the actual inhalations and exhalations. I just think it's cool. That's a large part of what yoga is about, is the pranayama practice, the breath work that we can do, but just doing a really entry-level style here of noticing breath. So big breath in, and then sigh out. And then if you like, just lift up enough so that you can widen your knees, and if this bothers your knees, come into tabletop and do your breath that way. And then arms coming out gently in front of you, forehead maybe on the mat. We're going to take a moment or two here just to sink in. And then as you breathe in and out, you feel your belly coming down between your legs. So there's nothing, no barrier to stop it from inflating. And then exhale, feel it kind of retreat back up into your body. And then as you kind of deepen your breath here, big billowy fill up, give a big push up, use your abdominal muscles. How long can you exhale before you fill back up? And I know you didn't come here to listen to me breathe. So let's take one more big breath in, and then we will start to peel ourselves up on the exhale. So let's go ahead and come to a seat. Bring your feet out in front of you. And yes, I'm still wearing my socks because it's wake-up yoga. We're not going to be in down dog, we're not even going to be standing. Isn't that great? So feet at least hip width, and then a little side-to-side action. Your hands are behind you, supporting you. Just a little windshield wiper here. Starting to feel the outer edges of your hips. And knees going side to side, just to tolerance, okay? And then the next time they come to the right, let's sit up enough that we can sort of add a gentle twist. So I like left hand to right knee, and then a little spin, but we're mostly spinning from the upper back, so like rib cage up. So we're gonna protect our low back. So those of us with cranky low backs, you'll appreciate that. And as you breathe in and out, feel your belly sort of pushing into the twist. It's such a cool feeling. Back through center, and then a gentle twist to the other side. Really long spine, right hand to left knee, left hand back like a kickstand, and then just ease your shoulder around. You could be looking over your left shoulder or keep your neck neutral. It just depends on your neck. We're getting to your neck next. So as you come back around, find an easy seated pose. We call that Sukhasana in yoga. Hands will come to your knees, and we're just going to inhale and lift forward. Breathe in, maybe tilt your chin up, and then an exhale, round back behind you. Pull your belly button, not just back, but a little bit up and in. And then a breath in, and then an exhale, tuck and round. Back in. Lift up, look up, and then let's come to neutral spine. Now here's what I'm going to tell you. If, for whatever reason, sitting Sukhasana with your sit bones connected directly to the mat is causing some achiness in your low back, here's what you're going to do. You're going to lean over. You're going to grab a block. I would sit on a foam one if I were you. They're more comfortable than cork. And here we are in a lifted position. Oh man. And then that makes my cranky low back feel a little more willing to participate. So let's go back in and out a couple more times. One more lift. And one more round. So seated cat-cow is a really great option. You can do this at your chair while you're driving at a stoplight. And then let's do a couple shoulder rolls. All of this stuff is so adaptable to moments in your life. You don't have to just start and set a timer and be like, I have to do 30 minutes of yoga or it doesn't count. Like yoga, sprinkle it throughout your day, right? So let's take our chin and keep your spine nice and long and tuck it straight down. In some yoga circles, we start talking about something called the Jalandhara lock. That's an energetic lock that you use by closing off like an energy field that would normally come out your esophagus and trachea, right? So we're locking the energy down. Whether you believe that or not, we're still tucking the chin down. And then inhale back to neutral. And then we're going to take our chin towards our right shoulder, but just nice and soft. Should feel some corresponding action here in the left side of your neck, but we're not cranking. And then back through center with an inhale, and then chin towards the left. Hold it there for that full exhale, and then back through center. Now this is one I want you to be super careful with. You can just take your ear towards your shoulder, or you can gently lay your hand on the opposite side of your head just to encourage your ear towards your shoulder, but we're not pulling. My hand's just sitting there as a weight. And as you exhale, just sort of let things soften, so let your left shoulder soften away from your left ear. And then come back through center, release that hand, and then try it on the other side. And if you're like, no, it's too much for me, maybe you just have really beefy hands. Don't be mad about it. Just be like, I'm super blessed to have beefy hands. I'm not going to use them as a weight at this time. So again, paying attention to some feedback from your neck, breathing, and then releasing back to center. Now we're going to do a little bit of movement. So again, to tolerance. That's the key to all of this stuff. So if you take your chin towards your left shoulder, we're going to kind of scoop it down, around, and over to the right. Pausing there, lifting up nice and straight, and then a little duck down. The slower you go, the more you give your body a chance to figure out what you're trying to do, and it won't fight you so much. So big inhale here, and then exhale. To the other side. Inhale again, and back. To the left, back to the center, and then let's do another round or two of shoulder rolls. I'm telling you, I prefer most of the time to sit on a block if I'm going to be in Sukhasana. It's called easy seated pose, but if it's not easy in your body, let's make it so. All right, so then let's lift the arms up, and then I want you to experiment with a shoulder blade lift. So in the back, you're going to allow your shoulder blades to come up and away from each other by pressing your arms towards the ceiling. It'll bring your shoulders closer to your earlobes. That should feel like a lot, especially if you're trying to keep a straight spine, which I want you to do. And then just soften them down. That should feel less intense. And then your fingers are just wiggling. And then you're gonna, again, lift up. You're gonna feel that shoulder blade action of them curling out and away from each other, like you're pressing on something heavy above you. And then soften down. One more time, inhale as you lift. Press, keep your spine straight, so that means we're not arching our back. And then just soften down. And then the arms are gonna come down to a goalpost. So again, we're keeping some lightness in our fingers, our phalanges. I just like saying phalanges. So we're just gonna hold here for a second, and then without yanking with your elbows, you're gonna squeeze your shoulder blades together and then soften forward. Yeah. So squeeze them together, exhale, and then release them forward. One more time with the squeeze, like you're squeezing a pencil, right? Between your shoulder blades. And that should be enough to get some shoulder awareness. So let's bring our palms down, facing up towards the ceiling, and just kind of take a moment here. We're gonna add a little bit more movement. I really wanna get into your shoulders while we have this opportunity. So arms come straight back up. We're gonna turn the palms to face forward and then make light fists. And then as you come down, let's just do an experiment with how far you can get your elbows down towards your hips, and then lengthen back up. This time I want you to squeeze your fists and pretend you're pulling on something heavy, just like you're at the gym. You're gonna lift back up, and then pull down. One more time, lift up, and then fists, pull down. Release your hands and shoulder rolls. Next up, we're gonna wake up your wrists and forearms. I do this in my classes a lot when we're gonna do some arm balances and things like that, but it's really helpful to just sort of jazz up. If you get a lot of carpal tunnel or you have wrist sensitivity, this is a really great exercise, but you need to visualize with me that there's like so much gook and disgusting stuff on your fingers, and the only way to get it off is to flick it. So you have to flick like you mean it. Flick, flick, flick. And you're gonna be like, this is dumb. And I'm gonna say, is it? Or do you just feel self-conscious because you don't do stuff like this? So I want you to flick. It should feel like something's going on in your fingers, your forearms, and as we keep doing this longer than you want to, you're gonna start feeling it go up your forearms, into your upper arms, maybe even your shoulders and upper back. But remember, disgusting, filthy, gooey stuff on the ends of your fingers. You're gonna start to feel this awareness, awakening coming into your arms. You will thank me over time. And remember, you're doing this at home, and who is watching you? If people are sitting there watching you do this, then they should just join in the fun, right? Like, that's a little creepy. There's watchasana in a class, and then there's just somebody watching you working out or doing yoga and eating popcorn, and they need to get a life. So 4, 3, 2, 1. Now set your arms back down, and you should feel like energetic wavelengths of energy in your hands, your forearms, maybe even tingling up through the top part of your arms. Man, that's delicious. So we're just gonna take that and move forward with it by interlacing our fingers and finding a really nice big press forward, and then soften out of that, and then hands are gonna come back behind us, chest forward. We're gonna come into a tabletop next, right? So we're still on the ground, we're not lifting up, so you can free your block. If you need to put a pad underneath your knees, I totally get it. We don't really need to belabor the cat-cows since we've already done some, but this gives us a little more range of motion, so that's really nice. So tucking the tailbone down, right? And then lifting it back up, like you have a cute little tail, right? You're gonna go tuck, 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 and then you're gonna lift it up. And if you're like, do you talk like this in your classes? You better believe I do. Tuck, 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 and lift it back up. All right, so now we're gonna come into a little bit of a puppy pose. So stretch your arms out. I want your forearms lifted if possible. So dipping your chest down, feeling some stretch sensation in your upper back, outer arms, shoulders, and chest. So breathe here. Soften a little bit. Maybe your forehead comes to the ground, maybe it doesn't. And then lift up just enough that you can take your hands over towards the top right corner of your mat and then sink back down. I'm stacking my left hand over my right to get a little more side body stretch, but you do what you need to do. Inhale, lift up just enough that you can take your hands over toward the top left My right hand's going on top of the left just to get a little deeper sensation. I've been really working on my shoulders lately to find a little more opening. So I'm further along than I used to be, which is how yoga works. Then back into center, lift back up into your tabletop, and then we're going to take the right leg out for a little spin. Literally just take it out, do some circles, and then take your knee back the opposite way, even if it feels kind of janky. We like janky, right? It teaches us about movement patterns in our body. And then you go to the left side, you go backwards. And if one side feels more cooperative than the other, that's pretty normal. And then go left side. And then one thing I do in all my classes is I take my right foot back behind me and I press back into my heel. So I want you to just do that for a second. And then bring your knee back underneath you and step your opposite leg, your left leg back. And if you got it confused and you do the other leg, guess what? Just do the opposite side. Nobody's keeping track. We're just stretching gently here. And then we're going to tip side to side. So a little bit of side to side. As deep as you want, right? It depends on your hip mobility, flexibility, and interest level, right? And then take your hips on a big journey all the way down and around, 2 or 3 times. And then take it the opposite direction, 2 or 3 times. Shifting side to side a little bit. And then one more quick little thing, just because I want to get the backs of your legs woken up, and that's like one of the things that's my mission in life, is to wake up your glutes and your hamstrings, because most of the time they're dead ski. And if you got that, that's a Beetlejuice reference. The first one, not the second one. The second one was so bad. I'm so mad about it still. Anyway, here we go. Bring that knee up to about hip level. Flex your toes towards the floor. And then create action of bringing your heel in towards your hips, but don't let it move. Just pull it in. Pull it in, pull it in, pull it in. Like you're reeling in something, and you are what is holding that thing in traction. And you should feel it. And then if you want to pulse that heel up just to get a little more glute, that's what we're doing. And then bring your knee down. Oh, and then the other side. So the key here is to get about a 90-degree bend to your knee. Get that knee about hip level. Lean a little bit towards the left hand if you're tilting towards the right. And then pull against an imaginary weight that something's trying to pull your heel that way, and you're pulling it back this way. You should be able to feel your hamstrings leading up into your glutes turn on. You'll thank me for it. So just breathe here, and then without tilting your hips, pulse that heel up. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now bring that knee down, and then let's turn into a kneeling position. Now this may not be available to you yet. It's taken me about 6 years, no kidding, to be able to sit like this and not be super mad about it. So if you need to, that's when you take our friend the block and you put it between your hips, your heels, and sit on it with your hips, right? You could be at whatever setting you want. I wouldn't sit on this setting. That's a little intimate, but it's your business. You know what I mean? Your undercarriage is your business. But sitting like this just gives us a different sensation. It starts to work on opening the top part of your foot. Think about how your foot sits in a shoe most of the day and how we are trying to add some opening even down here in your extremities. It's really important. So as you sit here, you think, now what? Well, perfect time for you to move on with your day. You're warmed up. You could go into a workout. You could go into your work day. You could take a moment before you go prepare a meal for somebody that hopefully will be grateful for your effort. Or you can take this into a prone position and experience a little bit of Shavasana And here's what I'm going to tell you: if you're not ready for Shavasana, but you're ready for some quiet time, you've woken your body up, and now you can start to step into some meditation. So how do you do that? Let's set small, achievable goals. So maybe you set a timer for 3 to 5 minutes. You can put on some music in the background if that's helpful to you. Find an easy seated pose. That could be something like this, sitting on a meditation pillow, on another kind of a pillow, or just on your tuchus, right? And then set that 3 to 5 minutes. Let your body be still and breathe. That's it. Whatever comes up, comes up. There are so many ways to meditate, but being quiet, still in your body, and letting your mind have its time to sort of experience its own thoughts, and you kind of sitting to the side like that observer we were talking about, eating the popcorn, watching you do the things. Let you be that person and step into some meditation. I guarantee you will find it valuable, and your subconscious or the universe or God or whoever you think is talking to you will have an opportunity to find its voice. And that is what's going to drive us forward. So thank you for practicing with me today. I hope this blessed you, as my children like to say to me in jest, but I really do. So thank you. Have a great rest of your day, however much is left of it. Namaste, my friends.